Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the second roundtable conference, including Equinox. So, I'm your host Priyanshu, and today we have with us product managers and industry professionals from across the country. So, in today's world, more and more companies have been hiring remote talent, and that has caused a drastic change in the way that product development and project management in general goes. So, with today's roundtable, Equinox, the second roundtable that we have, we'll be discussing more about how there's been a drastic change in the roles of product managers throughout the change in the industry because even because of the pandemic, the work from home. So I'll introduce all of you to our panel. So we have Mr. Akash Pare, product manager at Grow. Then we had Mr. Anit Basu from DotPay, Mr. Anand Kumar, again a product manager at Field Assist, and Aman Kumar Watts. So he is a business analyst at British Telecom. So we'll start with the first question. Like, how did the product manager role adapt to the work from home environment during the pandemic, and what were the some of the major challenges that you all faced? So we'll start from Anit sir, and then we'll go. You know?
Hi, thank you, Priyanshu. So I started my product management career in 2019, and as soon as the pandemic hit, everything went work from home, and nobody expected and nobody saw this coming, and we also were not aware of the challenges that we faced. So having worked with the team in the office and then working remotely, managing communication, managing tasks, one thing that was the issue that we faced early on, like in the first phase of the pandemic, like, which I would say was the initial 3-4 months, is just getting that synchronization and that cadence of getting work done. Earlier, in a product management role, you are not only responsible for solving the problem, but you're also responsible for implementing the solution, which is contrary to what consultants do. Like we hear about management consultants, and management consultants, they generally solve problems, but the implementation is left at the client company's end. In product management, we solve the problem for behalf of the company, and we implement a digital product to mitigate that problem. So in order to solve the problem, we need to leverage the talent and skill set of engineers, designers, and marketing folks so that the product is launched in the market and genuinely solves the problem and adds the value proposition for the customers. So to move products quickly, having work from office, the agility which we had earlier, that was lost. So earlier it would just be like just going to a workstation, like discussing the problem and the solution, and then we just would just get work done, and we'd be tracking it on a project management tool. In work from home, the communication became totally digital. So first it was about like setting meetings, setting the goals and like getting them on board, various calling to and fro right from like mobile, laptop. So I think the operational challenges were far higher, and also the leadership also had to come into play in that sense, because when you are working in the office, everyone sees and everyone is able to understand your vision much more clearly, because obviously you are there presenting your ideas, thoughts, product vision, and this solution in front of your teammates, probably in a big conference hall or in a meeting room. But that is not the case. I mean, the kind of language barrier that would come just in simply in terms of like body language, I mean, that would not be communicated, just because a lot of people, because of internet connectivity issues, we had to like switch off the camera just so that we could save up bandwidth. So all these operational challenges also hampered these small little nuances and intricacies of work. And I think that was something which was a steep learning curve, not only for the product managers, but I also believe for the team members who work with product managers. So as I said, product designers, UI UX designers, engineers, marketing team, sales folks. So yeah, that was what went navigating in the first half. But I think now, because we have been working from home mostly for the last 2 years, we have gotten used to this. So this is a new phase in product management, and yeah, the industry has adapted well. That's what I would say.
Right. So we can go about so Anand sir or Raman sir, if you would like to add on to that.
Okay. So there are two aspects basically to product management. So when we talk about IT product management, it's separately different, of course. And when we talk about other products, because product is not only confined to IT, it's a vast area. Every organization, they might have some product, they may not have, I don't know, but they can have services also. So when we talk about product management, apart from IT, there is no alternative face to face. It has to be, right? But since we are talking about IT here, in our case, especially in our organization, so since so many years, I was working in the diverse culture and diverse distributed team across globe. So already the procedures, practices, the tools and techniques were established. For example, my team is scattered across Hungary, UK, US, Australia, Middle East, South Africa. So already we had that kind of infrastructure established where we were able to communicate with them effectively, monitor their productivity, speak about the roadmap, monitor their user story, their progress, think about the vision of the product, how it is going, what we are trying to build, and so on. So when the COVID came, I remember the date, 14th March 2020. So the offices were closed, and these are closed even today. I have not visited even a single time in office till then, and we have released multiple products. It's not only one product. In fact, complete program is running now, which is basically migrating, transitioning, and transforming your existing software, existing legacy systems to the latest technologies. Also integrating with business intelligence. Also integrating with the data science. So on. I mean, new products are also coming in a picture. You are replacing new products and enhancing existing products. So that thing is continuing, and I really don't feel any bigger challenge because infrastructure was established. However, when we talk about interaction with the team, honestly speaking, there is no alternate. The reason is that touch and feel has gone. The office environment, it has gone completely. I can sit anywhere. I can sit in my half pant. I can sit in my pajama. I can switch on my camera. I may switch off my camera. Honestly speaking, I mean, so these are the situations. Sometimes when, for example, I'm presenting because I'm also in the role of data architect. I'm presenting and I'm saying, okay, this way our data will flow. And at this point of time, the data will be, for example, mined at this place. So what's your thought against this? So if I'm asking to someone, so he's lost. The reason is he's not available on the system. So he must have gone for the T. It's not that I'm not saying that people are not honest or something. He must have gone for the T. Because when you are working from home, you also need to work for home. So that is the expectation. And your duration has increased. I am, for example, I'm sitting just beside Priyanshu. I can immediately turn my head and say, Priyanshu, can you just create this report or can you just add this particular field? But to do that activity here, when I'm working from home or remote, I need to maybe plan a meeting. Like Anit said, he was right pointing out that part. I need to plan a meeting. I need to create a presentation, present it, and in one go, because when you communicate at one instant in one channel, 75% of the communication is transferred, 25% is lost. That is standard phenomenon of any communication. So in that case, there's some communication is already lost. There are challenges, but the challenges, especially in case of the organization which are diverse and already established, it has been minimized. But yes, there were challenges, and it has been taken care now with little more work. Instead of 8 hours, now you might be working for 9 hours, but you are saving good amount of time which you are spending or you are wasting, not spending in commuting to the office and burning the fuel as well. Yeah.
Anand sir, your opinion?
Yeah. So, I mean, I listened to what Anit and Aman had to say. And I mean, they brought out really interesting point about how communication has been disrupted with respect to COVID coming into picture and how people have adapted across it. People are setting meetings. But fundamentally, when I look at things, what is really happening as a product manager, what I know is that I am probably a jack of a lot of trades, but I'm not really good at one specific thing. I can't really go and sit down and code. I can't really go and create the best designs out there, right? So one of the fundamental paradigms that I operate on is trust, right? I would end up giving that, hey, this is my document, this is my structure. You have to build something out of it. So I trust those certain set of people. Now, if I break down product managers again, two parts: people who have just come into product management, are new into product management, or let's say have joined a company recently, and people who have already been working. So people who have been working together as a team pre-pandemic area, they already have that sense of trust established within the team, right? But let's say I had joined Reliance Jio during the process of pandemic, while pandemic was on, and building that trust, right, which happens once you are in person, you are talking to them, you're interacting with them, is relatively much easier as compared to doing it over meeting or doing it over call with the microphones and the camera turned on, right? These are two different ball games altogether. Now what really happens is that, hey, if I'm not able to build trust but my deadlines are not changing, right, I still have to deliver a product, let's say in the next 3 months. So my deadlines are not changing, and what starts happening is that it starts creating a cascading effect. I'm not trusting people, but I have to deliver, right? Now I end up starting, I don't end up micromanaging up front, but then I keep following up on things, right? Now that further starts creating a sense of distrust, right? And over a period of time, what I have seen that, and not just with me, with a lot of people who have joined in different companies during the pandemic, that the developers or the UX designers or the any other aspects, that sense of distrust starts creeping in, that hey, ye itna follow up kar raha hai, or let's say people have their own tasks to do, right? So the entire process of delivery, right, might happen on time, but the camaraderie, and Aman sir would know that being in info, the sense of camaraderie that you have within a team, that goes for a toss, right? And that, I think, ends up creating products. You end up creating product, but you don't end up creating a very good product team, right, who will keep delivering products over the years. And that is one of the things that I think pandemic has brought in. With all the goods, these are some of the silver all the bads are also there. And this is something that I see is an issue. Building great product teams becomes very difficult when you are working in an environment where you are not interacting face to face. This is another aspect. So this was more of a soft aspect of things, but even on the functional aspect. So I work at Field Assist right now. At Field Assist, we help uh, the retailers to get the different. We help customers like Haldirams, or let's say customer like Imami, to get their products to the retailers, right? Now, in the process, on the process of customer discovery, we often go on field visits with our customers, right? We go on a lot of field visits. Almost every month we go, whenever we release any major app, we walk alongside our users and we check how are they are using the application, how are they behaving with it. Now, that gives us a lot of insights, a lot of soft insights, which are something which we cannot track using some analytic tool, right? Now, that kind of user discovery has gone for a toss again with pandemic coming in, right? I'm not able to really see how is the user using my application. I'm not able to get a feel of it. And that may not happen in several other kind of products, which, let's say, a product like Grow, right? You are never really going and sitting with your user and seeing how they are using the product. But in our case, where our users are not as educated, right? And where if you ask them certain questions, they may not give you the right kind of answers. You actually have to go and observe and get a lot of feedback from them, right? That is one aspect that has gone for a toss. So yes, so overall, it has all the good points are probably mentioned by Aman and Anit as well. But these are some of the two caveats that I see that have crept in because of the pandemic setting in.
So Akash sir, as they've already added a lot of points, but as you said, you are working at Grow, and Aman sir told us that legacy media had a little less of an impact because they already had existing international network and they were already using a lot of conferences. So how did it go at Grow? Like you are, unicorn, so you recently started. How did it affect you?
So one really good thing about startups is that they're lean, right? You put us into anything and we'll mold ourselves and we'll get through it. So when pandemic hit, right, it was of course जैसे उन्होंने बताया 14th March, and we were like really thinking कि यार क्या होगा, मतलब how will things go on, मतलब maybe coders will be able to code, PMs will be able to make PRDs, but what about customer support agents, right? They have to attend calls all day. How will that go? How will the CS services work? How will the operational aspects of the things work, right? But I think at that point of time, our team, as I told you, right, matlab, they are all like wonderful engineers. They created proper VPN, so they're all IT, information security things are taken care of, and everyone who wants to work, who is expected to work, can do their work peacefully without any infra issues. So yeah, matlab, we could do it easily, but if I just have to add on to what new things that I had to learn for those last 2 years, right, was one, to over communicate, right? Because मतलब it might feel irritating at times कि भाई same report रोज क्यों डाल रहा है, मतलब, right, कि why is he like keep on iterating the same things again and again, but we have to do it so that everyone is on the same page, everyone knows the mission that we are working on, and everyone's aligned to keep doing it. And that was kind of ingrained into us by our CEO Lalit himself. He used to keep telling me, keep over communicating, bro, don't stop, just but वापस भेजो, no issues. And the other thing is, of course, writing, right? So, I'm sorry about this, but I had to write a lot, right? I had to write PRDs, I had to matlab, write reports and proper follow-ups, mock-ups, updates, all of those things. And I think the matlab, another good point raised by Anand was ki there was a difference in the way that new joinees handled the situation, and the people who were already there handled the situation because of the trust issues. Maybe there are more reasons to it, right? Because they are not very aware of the culture, ki how things work here, how open are people to getting their calendars booked by random new guys. So but for me, I had always already been there for some 7 to 8 months. I knew a lot of people, I knew how things work, I know the culture. So for me it was a smooth sailing. But I think some of the new folks joined, but over the time, as I told you, right, because of the communication, jitni zyada meetings hoti hai, the way our founders gave told us ki what are the values of the org, and at the end of the day, it's customers. अगर वो उसको कुछ चाहिए तो we'll all sit night, give night outs, and we'll work for it. So that's how we worked on it. And yeah, matlab, it wasn't that difficult for us personally. Matlab, we managed it, probably because our engineers were like great, and they really steered the ship well throughout the pandemic.
I mean, yeah, what you mentioned, Akash, about the learning aspect. I mean, just adding quickly to that. So the learning part, as you talked about, happens because since you're working with
Yeah,
so many
I
different
totally
teams,
agree.
right?
Totally agree, Anand.
Yeah,
Totally, yeah.
exactly. Happening with so many
Mhm.
different teams. So it's very difficult to actually communicate with all team when nobody really knows you, right? You're nothing
Totally.
but you're just a photo on the screen, right?
Totally
So
agreed.
yes, so that sense of learning also goes away once you are working in pandemic and you are newly joining into a company as a product manager, whatever role applies
Yeah, yeah,
everywhere.
yeah. Totally
There,
agree. Totally agree.
there are actually certain things, as I said when I was speaking, where touch and feel is very important. That's very important, in fact. And like Akash was absolutely right in that case. There are certain basic differences between startup and some established organization. Startup, I don't mean like which is just startup. I mean a small company. Small ship sails very fast. समुद्र में बहुत फास्ट चलता है. And bigger ship थोड़ा धीरे 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 slowly it moves. The speed is very less. So the dynamics in the small companies changes very fast, and one person can really work for like 5 6 roles, but that doesn't happen in kind of bigger corporates, and it's not possible as well. If they start doing that, it will be very difficult to control roles and responsibilities, and therefore so many processes are in place. Unless you pass them, you cannot do that activity. So the because I worked in small company also and bigger company also, I felt that change. If you want to learn and grow, please join a small company. And if you want to just like government and just you want to do your job and that's it, then you can be part of the bigger company. Because when I started in corporate, I was part of a small company and I stayed there for about 10 years. I started Oracle PLSQL D2K. and I reached to data science. So it was a long journey. But when I worked in IBM in disaster recovery in British Telecom, project management is my forte impact because I started. I did my PMP in 2007, so project management is basically was in my blood, honestly speaking, and that is from the beginning of my career in defense forces because all these procedures they come from defense. So I realized that change, big change. I wanted to do something in IBM. I cannot. The process doesn't allow you. मैं अरे यार वहां तो हम ढंग से कर देते हैं यहाँ कैसे नहीं होगा नहीं होता है it doesn't it really doesn't go. And I think Anit must have realized that while he was working in India Mart because that's B2B and the bigger company. Share बहुत बड़ा चलता है उसका. I realized that. I mean, it's I tried to buy a few, but I could not. So, but yes, I 100% agree with Akash and Anand and Anit and few challenges, and the main one is the touch, the feel. And when you're working for some MNC, which is diversified and situated across the globe, and you're interacting with the various culture team, I mean, there is no requirement for the feeling. It's not that 100% not required, but there is no feeling, honestly speaking. They do their job and out. They don't feel what is happening with you, what is happening. हम इंडिया में क्या करते हैं? If you say, यार मुझे तो कोरोना हो गया, then maybe I'll call 2 times. यार, what is the situation now? Have you taken medicine? Have you done that? Nobody takes care. Oh, please take care. That's it. So that personal bonding is really great in small company, and when the company is only in some hemisphere of the world, but when it is crossing some limits of the boundaries of a country, then the situation is really different. And it lies to project manager, it lies to product manager, anyone whoever is taking that role, any kind of role, it impacts.
So, Anand sir, as you have recently worked in both legacy and in the startup, so what would be your like? What are certain things that you face, like certain differences that you would like to tell us about working in a startup manner, like Aman suggested?
So I think one of the biggest points that I think all the panelists have raised here is that of agility. So as Aman sir, he used a very right analogy, is that it's like working in a large legacy organization is like working in a cruise ship. But if you're working in a startup, it's like you're working in a on a like a speedboat, right? So when it comes to directional changes or organizational alignment, I think in startups it's much more quicker. Uh, at least in .pay, we have seen that our roadmap items, those get the priorities of those roadmap items, they have changed in a span of weeks just because we have to meet certain different business objectives. I can't say the same for India Mart because in India Mart we had a lot of processes. So even before deciding the roadmap, we would have our objectives and key responsibilities, which would be discussed at the start of every quarter. Like these are your objectives, these are the metrics that you have to do. And in order to move these metrics, it is expected that you will ship out these number of products and features, and that is set in stone for the next 3 months. Like even in the pandemic, that was also the case. So I think the first 3 months in the pandemic, what we only at that instance did we throw out our roadmap out of the window. The only thing was that when the pandemic started, there was such a looming uncertainty. Like no one knew what's going to happen, right? No one knew if their businesses would survive or not. All right, everything stopped. So the only roadmap at that time we had in mind was to ensure business continuity in terms of the teams working well, product uptime, and other technical challenges should not be there. I think it's only in the second fiscal quarter in that year did we really start again getting the roadmap back into the track and then focusing on objectives and key responsibilities, and that happened. So that is obviously there. The other thing that is there is that since again the problem of scale is also that communication also has a lot of barriers. So for example, say I have to set a meeting with customer support teams to understand that what are the challenges our customers are facing in using a product. So then it would be like, you know what, like talk to this person, talk to this person, talk to that. Like that is what would happen in a big organization. I'm pretty sure like as companies scale and people who have worked in different scale of companies, be it Anand Akash. Akash has worked and grow from like right from Series A to being a unicorn. So he has seen the company grow, and I'm pretty sure he's also has seen those phases of being a lean small company to being a large scale organization right now, even though it's a unicorn startup. But then again, the scale, that is one problem there. But in startup, it's like we don't have those kind of problems. It's just that if you have any problem, you know the person, you just contact them and you just sit on a call and just get things done. So that's the thing. In a legacy company, there is a well set direction and a path which the company is moving on. Your goal is to ensure that the company keeps moving on that path. When in a startup, there is no well set company path because the company itself is trying to figure out product market fit. If product market fit is figured out, then they will try to figure out how can we scale this, what directions can we go in, what are the levers that we can pull so that our customer acquisition increases and then we can monetize those customers. So in that case, as you can see, like right from product achieving that product market fit, that is one part. Then the other part of acquisition and scaling, then the other part of monetization. Like these are the key challenges which a legacy organization does not have to face and a startup has to face. So in that cases, agility is important, and that's why like communication there is like there's no barrier. It's like you just get on a call and get things done, no matter whether it's 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. You have to get things done. You have to get things moving. Time is not an issue. Availability is not an issue. You have to get things done. That is what is I've understood and what I've experienced over the past 2.5 years.
Right. So the timings is a lot of, I've heard from a lot of people at startups, they don't really have a set timing like 9 to 5 and 5 ke baad we're going home. It doesn't work like that. So Akash sir, how has your journey been? Like, how have you seen grow like throughout the years? As you said that you came in early and then you've seen it grow into a unicorn. So how did the culture in the company change with respect to it growing into a unicorn?
यार मतलब to us, so I remember someone questioning. So we have a regular AMA kind of a thing going on with the founders, right? People ask ki, what are we doing, all sorts of questions. So when we turned unicorn, so someone pinged and asked Lalit ki, Lalit, now that we are a unicorn, how are you feeling? What will change? So and what do you think about being a unicorn, right? So he said it doesn't mean shit. मतलब we'll continue to work the way we've been working, and we'll continue to serve our customers, keep them in mind, and work, right? मतलब that's all. Don't let it get into your heads ki now we are at a unicorn. But of course, मतलब with being a unicorn, you are like serving way many more people than before, so you can't make same mistakes that you've been making when the scale was very low. You had a daily active user base of, let's say, 10,000 users. So because now you have like 5 million users coming on your platform every day. If any feature is not working, it'll like go to media, CNBC दिखाने लग जाता है कि आज ये फट गया, होगा ये. So now, of course, our users, there's a big risk of people losing their money, and we just can't, that is kind of unbearable in a way, right? So I would say cultural wise, जैसे आपने पूछा प्रियांशु, culture wise things have remained the same. We still believe in a flat hierarchy. Everyone is approachable. So मतलब एक कोई intern भी आता है, he simply pings one of our founders ki, why are we doing this? Why don't we do this? And they properly they properly address his concerns. They tell him ki हाँ मतलब what you're saying, we've tried it or we'll try it or whatever, right? But they address him properly, and yeah, that is what it is. Matlab, it kind of depends a lot on the people who are at the helm of your company, the way they kind of grow the culture throughout. Getting it? So for us personally, agar aap grow ki baat karo, तो things have remained the same. I'm not sure if tech guys would agree because because they have like different things ki mujhe SD2 banao, SD3 banao, which we don't believe in. Like everyone is a software developer. Neeraj keeps on saying that, right? So yeah, matlab, that's pretty much it. At Grow, we've still remained the same, but as Aman sir, Anit, both of them mentioned, because of a lot of responsibilities, because of a lot more customers whom we are serving, we have to be more responsible. हम लोग production उतना frequently नहीं फाड़ सकते, right? जितना पहले फाड़ते थे, right? New features and all. But yeah, for me personally, it has not changed a lot. It has remained almost the same.
Yeah, I think even Zerodha had about 1 or 2% downtime. Like and then like CNBC had a whole thing like how Zerodha is going down every now and then.
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm
financial
saying,
markets,
right?
so
We can't matlab now. But
Actually,
culture-wise, things have remained the same for us personally.
actually, with grow, money is associated,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
when money is associated anywhere, everybody focus on that.
right.
So that I mean, expectations are really high, and the market is very competitive there. Grow is there, Zerodha is there, and I've seen, I mean, Upstocks is there, and so many things are coming in. I can understand the amount of pressure you people might be having to maintain that app and keep it working.
Yeah, engineers are like working their asses off matlab, all the time. So,
Oh, sorry, off the track. What's the team size there?
team size as in the devs or the overall org आप किस हिसाब से
Overall,
पूछ
total.
I think we are over 1100 folks, including
Yeah,
customer support and all. But yeah, but again, matlab, even being at this scale, we're still a startup. I'm saying that again and again. So
absolutely.
that speaks volumes about the way our founders have been handling
Problem
business.
happens. Problem happens when team grows much bigger and different locations. Then you must to have the procedure and processes in the place to manage them, to control them, to I mean, monitoring and control becomes very difficult. Execution can be controlled, planning can be controlled, requirement, feedback, that thing can be taken care. But monitoring and control is very, very difficult. I have realized that part. So maybe going after some time, you might face, okay, henceforth, when you're going for you need to follow this process. You might be feeling such thing there very soon.
Maybe I'm not paying it because we only have set up a lot of processes, right? So we're like, "ये तो नहीं."
Ah,
I can totally relate with what Aman sir said. It's because of the fact that, as you said, like put into context, Pro right now has 1100 overall company organizations, and I believe that's a mixture of all functions. When I had joined at India Mart, I believe we at technology team. So the technology team comprises of engineers, uh, the technical leads, and the product managers. Our team size when I had joined, it was around 500 at that time. And when the last strength of the company was checked, when I had quit, I think it was around like 3,000, 3,500. So it's huge. So in that cases, like the procedures really do have to be set in so that any decision that you take, it has due checks and balances so that there's no negative impact of that which spills across to other business processes or other projects. I mean, you never know like what decision can have what uh, repercussions. So I do understand that.
So coming to with a question to Anand sir. So sir, as you said, you're creating applications for legacy operations, right? You said you're working with Haldiram, you're working with such big old names. So how do you make sure that the product that you're making fits the right market space? Like because it's very easy for you to like suppose you're in an urban area, it's very easy for you to make like think that हाँ ये UI अच्छा लगेगा, this is what people will like, but there might be a set of people who are like ये क्या है, like I can't understand how to order my bhujia. So how do you face those challenges? Because as you said, you're not able to get a lot of consumer input now. You're not able to go on field and check how the customer is working with your app. So how have you faced that particular challenge?
All right. Okay. So, I mean, there are questions are there in multiple parts, right? Let me address them one by
Sure.
one. So, the first part where you mentioned that how you are creating that market space for yourself. Was that the question?
No, like how are you
Huh.
making sure that your product fits in the market space that you want it to, and you're like
No, that's not how it works. So it's actually the reverse process, right?
okay,
So you don't build a product and fit it somewhere. You find a space, right? You build for them,
right,
right? That's how it works. So if let's say you are saying that, hey, if I'm building a product and then trying to find a market space, probably you are doing it wrong unless you're
right,
super lucky, or unless let's say you see that, hey, there's a completely new market space which is completely untapped, and then you are going कि हाँ ठीक कुछ इसके लिए बनाते हैं पता नहीं क्या प्रॉब्लम है बस बनाते हैं, right? And that's so these are two different styles of working. So I was working with a startup earlier, and we were incubated at Nexus in New Delhi. So they taught me about two things. There's one thing was the US way of building things, and then there was Indian way of building things. The US way of building things was that you have got so much capital in your hand, right? That you can actually build something and push it into the market. The very Indian way of, or jugaad way of building things, is that you start start going small, start looking for problems, start building MVP, start checking whether things are working or not, and then you start building a product. Let's say a V1 of a product, right? So yeah, the first question I think is needs to be corrected. You can't really find build a product and then find a market space. What you can really find is a position, right? So let's say let's say you are going into a new market, or let's say an old market, existing market, and you have got a lot of users who are already using, let's say, growing here. Zero was already there, right? So how do you find a position for yourself? That is something that you can explore once you have launched a product, right? So you won't be able to find a new market altogether, but let's say how do you find the mind space of the customers is what you can work on, and that's probably a marketing effort. There are several other ways you can find a space for yourself in the market, assuming that you have built the right product which suits the market, right? Is by creating your own moat. So moat is like any kind of differentiator that you create, which is something that holds your company, which differentiates your company and amongst all the other competitors. So as I mentioned, there can be a moat with respect to, or a differentiator with respect to the mind space, right? Paper boat sells on nostalgia, right? It has created a different positioning for itself. Its differentiator more than the product is the position that it has created in the mind of people, right? Could be a very genuine product differentiator, right? Look at the older dating apps and Tinder. The simple thing that you can swipe, right, is a huge product differentiator that Tinder has, which has been now being adopted by several other dating apps as well. Then there's a strategic differentiator that could be created, right? How you have built a product for a market, but how are you really taking that product to the market? What is your long-term strategy with it, right? Stick to a strategy and create a strategic differentiator for yourself. There could be other kind of differentiators also. Let's say a team differentiator. So let's say you have got a superlative team. You are building the same thing, but you're building it fast. You are reaching the people faster. You are using all your late mover advantage, right? You have great operations, great development, great tech teams, good product managers, right? Never call it great product managers, good product managers, right? And you have a great team. That's a differentiator, right? So first of all, what I would say, try to find the need of a market, build a product, and then build those differentiators which will actually help you find that space in the market, right? Does not work the other way around.
And so, how did you like counter the fact, like in the pandemic, you were not, as you said, you were not able to get any customer feedback, like you're not able to see how the customers are using your application. So, how did you overcome that challenge as a product manager?
Yeah, we had to talk to them on call. That's the best. So there are certain things you can do and certain things you just can't, right? You can't really go to their homes or can't really go and visit them with them on the field and figure out. But what you can do that helped us make our data funnel much better, right? So the kind of analytics that we were gathering, so there are distinct दो चीजें होते हैं. One is the kind of insights that you develop, and the second is the kind of data that you get, information that you have. So information plus insights will actually end up deciding the quality of a decision, right? And so हमारे पास insights नहीं आ रहे थे, तो हमें information पे बहुत ज़्यादा rely करना पड़ रहा था, right? So this pandemic actually helped us make our data funnels much better. The kind of data that we were capturing, the reliability of that data, the authenticity of that data ended up becoming better, and that helped us making better decisions while we were not directly interacting with our customers on a one-to-one face level. But now that things are becoming a bit better, I know I have been on a field visit like a couple of weeks back, right? And it was very refreshing again. And now that we have got a much, much better data funnel, right? Now the kind of insights that we are getting is adding much more value. So in terms of like for all the bad things that pandemic had, in terms of making sure कि data is being used appropriately to make decisions, or let's say how we call कि COVID was the biggest digital transformer in any company. So that has happened a lot, right? And now people are using data better and adding them to insights and making much better quality decisions, which is good for the entire ecosystem of products. कैसे करते थे
Okay.
यार? कॉल कर लेते थे, कॉल करते थे, पूछते थे. Not the most reliable thing to do, especially for the field that I am working in, because people are not super educated. They are busy. They their time is their money. So मैं उनसे 20 मिनट फोन करके बात करूं तो मैं उनका 200 रुपए ले लेता हूं,
Right.
right? For the kind of customers we have. So it was a trade-off, but thankfully our data systems became much better.
So, Akash, coming at you. So, how do you get your entire team to focus on a metric, especially in online? Like, it's really hard to get your entire team to focus on just like a particular metric or a single objective, if I may say. So, how do you get your team to focus on a particular task? Like, especially as you said, with so many communication barriers nowadays, just because of work from home and online communication. So, how do you overcome that in your organization?
So I think that is the most important part of a product manager, right? He has to give clarity to his teammates, मतलब not just his teammates, even his founders. सबको उसको समझाना होता है कि what needs to be done. So the most important, I should say, tool in our arsenal is that we are like closest to our customers, right? So we can all the time we can properly define why, right? And if for us that why is clear, key why are we doing what we are doing, so we can relate to our fellow teammates, and once they also understand कि, yeah, this is needed, so a lot of मतलब 50% of the problem जो आपने समझाई of aligning everyone is done. If everyone is convinced कि हाँ ठीक है, this is a problem, we need to build this to solve this problem. Just to give an analogy, कि there is a problem कि users are not able to find our phone number, so let's build a page where we'll write our phone number. ठीक है, ये phone number का page, right? And now if people agree to this, ठीक है, everyone is aligned कि why is clear, and then they'll all work for it. Now the second part of it is keeping them motivated while we are doing this, right? Because this might take 2-3 weeks, and you have to keep them motivated, keep them in loop. So at that point of time, the thing I was talking about, regular updates, regular reports, उनको बताना कि आप लोगों ने इसका V0 launch किया page का, because of that V0 our number of users who were asking for number have reduced from 100 to 80, right? We'll launch V1, the number will reduce from 80 to 50, right? So constantly communicating, over communicating, keeping everyone in loop as to what is happening, सबको वो bigger picture vision दिखाना कि that is why you did these 4 lines of code, this 4 lines of code reduced 10 users queries. So that is how things work. So again, matlab, just in keeping everyone on the same page, aligning all the aligning all the stakeholders as to for the mission key why we are solving. I think those two things, if you are good at doing, you'll be able to solve the problem of keeping everyone motivated.
Right, sir. So,
उसके साथ साथ तो last thing is कि devs are always ask for कि मैं हमको treat चाहिए मिलते ही. Being in an informal relationship with everyone also helps. जैसे अमन सर ने शुरू में बताया था, right? वो touch जो एक missing था, if you can develop it somehow, that is like a cherry on top. But I think the other 2 points that I mentioned are the key.
So, Aman, so how do you face the same challenge in your legacy media operation? Like, how do you get your team to get on work on a single metric? Do you have a team just for yourself? Do you like?
No, we have a team, and this is completely agile team working using Scrum model, agile methodology and Scrum model, and developing product. And the products are, a really bigger one, which is being used by thousands of people. So that way the product is getting created. Definitely, you need a strong planning first of all, and that roadmap has to be explained, and you cannot divert that. If at some given point of time, management or some senior management comes and say, no, we have to divert this point from here to this place immediately. Okay, जी इतने पैसे लगे, हमने analyze कर लिया, we need these many funds. Then he will be back out. That I have experienced, honestly speaking. And a very good tool which is part of Scrum methodology is a daily stand-up call. So every day you are speaking to your team, what you have accomplished against your planned story or planned activities. Stories basically in Scrum, user stories kind of activity you are planning for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whichever the sprint is decided at organization level. So what you have achieved till what was planned yesterday, have you achieved that or not? That is first part. What is your plan for today? It's second part. Are you facing any blocker anywhere? That is third part. You don't need anything else from the team apart from that. Then you can speak just a day before demo. Okay, we have developed this particular feature in this product. Can we have a demo on this? And we are planning a demo to stakeholders on this date. To demonstrate, we must be ready for that. I think that is overall. Oh, of course, there are so many matrices behind that, like technical review, effectiveness, schedule variance, effort variance, and there are about 15 odd matrices, KPIs connected with that, which are getting monitored through various tools, taking feed from these systems like Zira, and then evaluating that and projecting a dashboard in front of you. But these matrices help you to maintain monitoring and control. As a product manager, I don't need to understand technically. I just need to understand how the things to be done. मुझे ही नहीं जानना यार आप उसमें कोडिंग किस में करते हो. You are doing in Java, you are doing using Python, you are using Fortran. I'm not interested. Of course, it has been decided. It has been the tools have been decided, but as a product owner, I'm talking from pure perspective because that role I perform many times. I'm not interested to know that how you are performing that. Technologies have been decided. You are saying this feature and features have been decided by PO itself. These features has to be incorporated in this particular tool, and this is our roadmap. For this 2 weeks, we are planning this. That's it. UI UX person will do separately, technical person will do separately, testing person will do separately, and everyone will come together before demo. They will integrate. So that's overall process. It goes. So I think for us, it's not a big challenge to maintain that control.
Right.
It's a well defined. I mean,
You can see there's a very big difference in the way Akash sir and Aman sir are telling about their different experiences and
yeah,
companies.
that. But they are selling very fast. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
However, there is other round also of this because I had been associated with Indian Navy for some time. The small boat they sail very fast with the chances of turning turtle as well. Yeah, but growth is really great. I mean, you need to join the small company for learning and grow.
Right.
That's
So what are some of like upcoming technologies or techniques that you incorporate so that you are able to increase the productivity of your team? Is there certain things that you would?
yes, of course. See, in project management space, not in product management, project management because that is part of product management. It said that crystal clear communication is the key. So project manager spends about 70% of his time in just communicating, and communicating. So that is the basic task it is there, apart from planning. The collaborative tool plays a key role. The whole world is moving towards from in-prime server to clouds, right? So one barrier you have already crossed, that you need to have a server in office, you need to go to the office, connect there, and then start working. So that time has gone. You have already moved to the clouds. And there are so many companies providing clouds, be it AWS, Alibaba, Google, Azure, IBM, Oracle, and there are so many players. So that is okay. Second is first of all is your infrastructure that has gone to cloud. You don't need to create your infrastructure at your place. So in very small amount you can start working on cloud. That is one part. Second part is monitoring and control, including planning. So Jira is there. You can use Jira Confluence. You can to create your features and your product roadmap. You can use mind map. You can use Asta. You can use Jude, and there are so many tools and so many other tools. You can use Visio also. I mean, if you want to create some flow, some wireframe, so you can use that. Then to analyze your progress, you can use multiple tools, especially related with the data analysis and data analytics, like ClickSense you can use, Tableau you can use, or then when you are going to data science further deep down into your productivity calculation and checking out your plan for future, you can use Python. You can use There are other tools associated from Google only. TensorFlow, you can use that also. So you first, the main thing is collaboration. Google Teams, we are doing now, that is second. Sorry, not Google Team, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet. Zoom is not that great, honestly speaking. I have used that and it's not that great. It's not that it doesn't have functions. It has functions, but only problem is planning a meeting and doing that it's not that great. Team is the best. That is my experience in collaboration. So these are certain tools. You don't need so many tools, but and honestly speaking, especially for the startups, the market is full of free tools for every aspect. You don't need to buy immediately and invest. So technologies, cloud is the number one. Then monitoring and control, you can use Jira, and then analytics, you can use ClickSense or Tableau.
So, Anitsa, would you like to add something to that? Like, what are
So I
the
No,
think I think there are two aspects to it. A product manager has two roles. They are an individual contributor in terms of the product that they are trying to build to solve a problem. The other aspect is that of managing the team. And like even though like in very few cases would you see like a developer directly reports to a product manager, but still they have to work with the developer to get things done, right? So with work from home, what has happened is that we all have experienced this at a time. Like everyone has that period or time in a day when they feel very creative or very energetic. That's why they say that early morning birds or night owls. It's just that how our brains work or how our brains are alert at certain points of time. So I know for a fact that in my team there are a couple of developers who actually like to code late in the night, and some developers they prefer they prefer just before lunch kicks in. So in that case, you still are managing getting work done from these two different times, right? So asynchronous communication is important, and that has to be at the same platform. So something like a Slack or Microsoft Teams or even Google Meet, that is like the typical communication tool. Sometimes WhatsApp also is there, but I do not actually prefer WhatsApp because WhatsApp is also riddled with messages from personal groups and friends. So that is a big distraction. I really love Slack for that. In Slack, you can also add tools or like just the Slack also has a number of integrations. So if you integrate with Jira, you can just add the ticket there and you can see what is the task to be done in that. Same goes, for example, if you're using Slack with product managers, say you create a PRD on Confluence, you can share it right in Slack. So that is there for asynchronous communication. Slack is there. Your video calling tools are there. We are using Meet. Zoom is there. Meet or Microsoft Teams is there. Some companies also use Cisco WebEx. I don't know how intuitive is that, but it is still there. So that is there. So team productivity, you are looking at Jira and Slack. But product managers, the most important resource which a product manager will always have a crunch is of time. Everyone wants product manager's time, and a product manager also wants everyone's time. That is the big part that I've realized. So in that, time management is key. And in that, I think the best technique that you can use, because in product management, you can also face burnout, like just by sitting in front of the computer for hours and hours, and then like waking up all of a sudden, like it's a demanding role. All right, whether you're in a working at a legacy organization or in a startup, everyone needs product managers' time, and product managers also conversely need everyone's time for getting things done, for getting things moving. So the biggest tool is that you obviously use calendar to block your time or block a certain time slot where you're just going to have meetings with other teams. Number one. Number two is that when it comes to work done, we all know that like in product managers, that we all know that we create products which have to fight for users' attention. So the critical resource is of for any product success is obviously users' attention, so that they are hooked to the product and then they start using that product. All right. But for us, product managers also, our attention is also commanded by so many stakeholders. But we are also the most important stakeholder. A product manager is a product manager's most important stakeholder is the product manager themselves. They have to manage their time. So you can use something like a time tracker app. There are multiple apps which helps you do Pomodoro time tracking. In Pomodoro time tracking, what you basically do is you set time intervals of 25 minutes where you particularly work on a problem for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break, then again 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break. You can set these repetitions for like 3-4 times, and then you take a half-hour break or a 1-hour break, depending on what you do. So personal productivity and team productivity is very essential. And yeah, these are some of the techniques that I can say. Obviously, Aman sir said that Scrum is there, and that is a typical standard practice. Like even before pandemic, post-pandemic, Scrum has been there. The Scrum procedure and the agile methodology will follow. Daily stand-up call will still be the norm. But these are some things when it comes to personal and team productivity that is very crucial in order to get things done for yourself and for the business.
Right, so Pomodoro techniques, I remember using them for my JE. Like we used to sit down, like timer, like okay, we'll sit down for 25 minutes to study. So Anand, so what are your views on this topic? Like what are some of the tools that you have used, maybe something specific that helped you increase your productivity or your team's productivity in general?
Yeah, I mean, Aman and Anit have covered most of the tools that I have used. But one thing that really helped me out in this pandemic phase was actually getting a writing tablet and a writing pen, right? A lot of times that, especially in the discovery phase or when I have to discuss any concept with developers, we usually have documents, but documents are not does not have diagrams. Does document does not have, it's not like you pick paper like a bad guy and you're writing along with them and then you are just drawing and explaining things to them, right?
Right.
So having, let's say, a nice Wacom writing pad and a writing pen, that helped me to explain things to the developers, help me explain the how I'm actually thinking about the wireframes to my UX designers. That helped me save a lot of time, right? That, hey, because I can draw on that, right? I can draw on that very easily. I can show it on the screen. So that is something which has helped me a lot. Other tool again that I have used is, and it's not a tool, it's a website called Focusmate, right? So a lot of time, there's a lot of defocus that happens when you are in this pandemic, because you are taking meetings, you are doing a lot of work, but there's a lot of product managers also work a lot on individual capacity, right? You have to write down a lot of documents. And Focusmate is a very good tool because it basically connects you with another person for 50 minutes who is also working on something, and you both are accountable to each other,
Right.
right? And for 50 minutes, since I'm accountable to that person, I'll sit down for 50 minutes straight, do my deep work at that time, right?
Right.
And right, deep work at that time, and then probably that helps me keep my focus intact for at least 50 minutes straight. And it's amazing how much of work you can actually get done in 50 minutes, right?
Right.
So that has helped me a lot. So Focusmate is, it's a website, Focusmate, you can just check that out. And getting a digital pad and digital pen, that has helped me out a lot.
Right. So Akash, sir, your 2 cents on this, sir.
Sorry.
Uh,
I'm sorry. I'm interrupting. Priyanshu, I think I need to drop.
Right.
I think that should be okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for time. Thanks a lot. It was nice interaction. Take care. Bye bye.
Thanks, man. Bye.
Thank you.
should I continue?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll end with this.
यार सर मत बोलो प्रियांशु please. But I, to be honest, I was also taking notes when Anand was saying focus mate, and it was also telling a lot about different tools, because I am personally the worst person to tell you about productivity and time management. I wake up at 10:55 a.m. for an 11 a.m. call. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, so for us, things are not very bureaucratic. I'm not saying I should not manage time properly,
Right.
but for us, things are not very bureaucratic. We work as per our own choices. Just say Anit told us, right? Some people are early, some people like to work early morning, some are late night birds, and what all, right? So yeah, but tool wise, I don't personally use anything. I just simply, whenever so this मेरे office में the first thing that's written right across my seat is that deadlines are the most important productivity feature. When deadlines reaching, एक दिन पहले आप रात को बैठ के कोड कर लोगे या लिखोगे कि यार कल तो दिखाना ही है, right? So yeah, that's how I work. I personally don't very lack discipline a lot, but yeah, things have been working, so
Plus
I'm
8
kind of
plus 8
rolling
घंटे कभी
along.
plus try sleeping for 8 hours. I'll tell you, you'll become super productive the other day.
Sure, I'll try that. But focus mate be, I'll try. Don't worry.
So with that, we'll end today's session. I learned a lot from you all. Hopefully, the viewers did too. Is there something that you would like to tell the students, like second year, third year students who are watching this, or in general, the audience that is watching this, that would help them, grow in their careers?
Anybody wants to go first? Anand, Anand.
So I think is it in terms of like how to get into product management and grow a career in that, is that was the perspective.
Yes.
Okay. So I think two very important aspects of product management is influence without authority. That comes from good, clear communication, crystal clear communication skills. That is number one. Soft skills are very important. Communication skills. Time management, again, you just can't play enough stress like how important that is. Speaking of that, and then there's obviously hard skills. The thing that is that product managers have to work with data, so get yourself up to date with latest data analytics tools, or like just learn a querying language. My SQL will work fine. All right, and then you can use a data analytics tool, so something like a Clever Tap or AppsFlyer or even Google Analytics, Mixpanel, Amplitude. There are so many. I mean, you will learn those on the job, but MySQL is something which I'd highly recommend for data extraction. After data extraction comes getting insights from that data, and no better tool than Excel or Google Sheets. So any spreadsheet tool, and spreadsheet tools are also not just for like data extraction, but also is a very good productivity tool. Like in terms of like we often use spreadsheets for getting map, for like creating the roadmap. Even for bug tracking, we have used that. That is also there. And there are other features like you can leverage. So any spreadsheet tool, MySQL, data analytics tool, and obviously get comfortable making wireframes, because that will at least give some idea to the product designer. Okay, that is how you envision the feature. Maybe not all the elements be incorporated in the feature, or maybe the buttons may go from left to right. But at least the product designer will have that idea as to how you envision the product to be like. So that is important. And yeah, like if anyone is looking to grow in product management, keeping yourself up to date with what's happening in the industry, reading up on product management. There are a lot of books and a lot of blogs out there which you can help to upskill. That is which is there in the internet. So that is obviously there. And yeah, like also the best way to learn is also just keep doing it. So like solve product problems and cases, do product tear downs, solve for a particular problem. Build a portfolio if you're trying to break into product management and you don't have prior product management experience. And if you do have product management experience, like how we all of like how Anand, Akash, and we have, then we just have to keep repeating that and just keep perfecting the craft, as as famous product manager Shreyas Doshi says, just keep perfecting the craft and you'll thrive.
Right, so Anand, sir, Akash, sir, any of you would like to add something to that?
I would just like to say to the second, third year students that a lot of your time has already been wasted, your college life in COVID, right? You could not attend colleges and all. So first of all, please enjoy karo agle 2-3 saal jam ke, right? And when I say enjoy, I'm not just talking about partying and all. Yeah, that is one part of it, but also explore your interests, right? Matlab, product management is not a field as such. Yeah. Matlab, things are still evolving. Matlab, there is no definition. I totally second all the things Anit said. Those are the different things that'll help you out, do your work better. But I would say just one very good thing that BITS gave us, I'm not sure if it's there in Triple IT, was 0% attendance. You don't have to go to classes or anything. Just but when you're among such group of people who are very much hungry for success, hungry for getting shit done, changing the world. So you'll definitely yourself also become such kind of a person, and you'll explore your interests and everything together. So again, the next 2 years just make 100% यूज करो उनको, enjoy your life, enjoy these 2-3 years. मतलब college life नहीं आती वे, अभी भी लगता है कि थोड़ा सा और कुछ कर लेते, right? So yeah, again, just keep it cool and enjoy. Things will align. Believe in the process. Yeah.
Right.
That's how it's.
Anand, sir, would you like to add on something to that?
Yeah, I mean, you're in the second year, third year. लोड मत लो, सबसे पहला इम्पोर्टेंट ये चीज़ है.
जी.
ठीक है. And if let's say even like just try to stay curious about things. I think that's the most important part. As long as you are being curious and you have that knack कि हाँ why is some things happening the way they are. ये traffic light है, बीच में yellow क्यों है, pink क्यों नहीं है, right? As long as you start questioning those things, start to believe, okay, कि start challenging how things exist, right? You start getting and start to search for answers for them. That is the way into product management. That is eventually what we do. What we eventually do is that we just seek the real truth, right? So just try seeking real truth and be clear about what you're seeking. तो जब आपको सच पता चलेगा सच क्या है और वो क्लियरली पता चलेगा, that's what you eventually end up doing as product managers, right? So just keep doing that, and that does not mean कि you have to use some analytics tool, you have to use spreadsheet, as Anita was saying, very good to have. But for the second year, third year, I would say that, hey, question करो चीजों को, just try to be curious about things in general, and not just your subject but about anything. ठीक है? Why are these two people roaming around, and why is not this guy with that girl? That is also being curious, right?
Right.
So beat that, and I think things will fall in place. Like
Right.
MS Soni says, trust the process.
Yes. So thank you all for coming. I learned a lot again. So with that, we'll end the stream. But to the viewers, we'll see you next Saturday again. We're another round table. We're getting CEOs from across the globe, so you can learn more from their experiences. And as Anand sir said, that learn from the experiences, just go with the flow. So thank you so much, everyone. With that, we'll end this
Thanks,
session.
guys.
Thank you,
All the
guys.
best.
Great
Thank you.
interacting with
Thank
Anil.
you.
Thanks, Akash.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you and all the best, everyone.
Same here.